What is up, everybody? JT Dangerously here once again. I am here to do my official New Japan Pro Wrestling's G1 Climax 32 2022 predictions. Now, this year's G1 Climax tournament starts next Saturday morning live on NewJapanWorld.com and all culminates on Thursday, August 18th, where the winner of this year's G1 Climax will earn a shot at the Undisputed IWGP champion, my boy Switchblade Jay White, at WrestleKingdom 17 in the Tokyo Dome. Now, if my boy Switchblade Jay White can win this tournament, he can handpick his opponent. Now, this year's G1 is going to be very special because for the first time in over 22 years, there's not just 2 blocks in the G1 this year, there are 4 blocks and 28 competitors fighting to see who will get that shot at the Undisputed IWGP title at WrestleKingdom 17. So I am extremely excited to do my G1 Climax 32 predictions for you guys this year. This could be a long video because we'll be breaking down all 4 blocks, all the competitors, my initial thoughts, my favorite matches that I'm looking forward to, my dangerously dark horses for each block, my final 4 predictions, and my finals predictions all in this one video. So sit back and relax, and I hope you guys do enjoy. Now, hopefully you guys will be able to watch this video and all the fantastic videos we got on deck on the channel in the month of July this year because it is the start of the summer of Dangerously. So as always, show your support by watching these videos, super kicking those like buttons, hitting that notification bell, commenting your picks, and your opinions in the comment sections down below. Now, if this is your first time watching my channel today, guys, as a first time viewer, and this is your first video, boy, big to go. And if you're a huge fan of New Japan Pro Wrestling like myself, and you're ready for the 32nd G1 Climax tournament, welcome to the Dangerous Alliance. I'm JT Dangerously. Welcome to the club because this club is just 2. Whoop whoop! Again, thank you guys so very much. Now, other than that, let's get right into my G1 Climax 32 predictions. Let's begin first with A block, starting off with the competitors. First, he is making his G1 Climax debut this year, and he is the former NXT North American champion. And if you know his music, you'll know who I'm talking about.
I'm ready for the war. Send them to the morgue. If they step, I let them more. Ready for the war. Said I'm ready for the war. Disrespect the boy, then I send them to the morgue. Yeah, I put that work in, day in, day out.
He is Jonah. Next, he is also making his G1 Climax debut this year, and he is the former and very first strongest and longest strong openweight champion. He is Filthy Tom Lawler. Next, he is representing Chaos, and he is making his 17th G1 Climax appearance, a former multiple-time KOPW winner, and if you know his music, you'll know who I'm talking about. He is the Sublime Master Thief, Yano Toru. Next, he is representing the Switchblade era of and he is a former IWGP Intercontinental Champion as well as a former IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champion. Making his 7th G1 Climax appearance, it's time to stand up and salute the Rogue General, Bad Luck Fale. Next, he is representing All Elite Wrestling, and he is a former 2-time IWGP United States Champion, and he is making his 6th G1 Climax appearance, and if you know his music, you'll know who I'm talking about. Everybody dies! He is the Murder Hawk monster, Lance Archer. Next, he is representing the United Empire, and he is a former two-time IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champion. He is a former Never Openweight Champion and a former Ring of Honor Television Champion, making his 4th G1 Climax appearance, and if you know his music, you'll know who I'm talking about. He is the Imperium Unit, Jeff Cobb. And finally, you have the Leader of Chaos and the former 5-time IWGP Heavyweight Champion, and he is the former Undisputed IWGP Champion, and he is the reigning and defending G1 Climax winner looking to repeat this year, making his 11th G1 Climax appearance, and if you know his music, you'll know who I'm talking about. He is Rainmaker Kazuchika Okada. Now, my thoughts on this year's A block for this year's G1 Climax tournament, it's pretty beefy. This is a beefy block. I mean, look at the names in this block that have a lot of beef. Lance Archer, Bad Luck Fale, Jonah, Jeff Cobb. You got Filthy Tom Lawler, you got the Sublime Master Thief Yano, and then you have the reigning champion Kazuchika Okada. This block is definitely beefy. Now, matchups I'm looking forward to in this A block, of course, Jeff Cobb versus Kazuchika Okada, the rematch from last year's A block final. And we all know what Jeff Cobb did last year. He only lost one match, and that was to Kazuchika Okada. So that matchup I'm excited for. Jeff Cobb versus Jonah. That match, as soon as Jonah signed with New Japan Pro Wrestling, that was the matchup I was waiting to see. And I have a good feeling that match is going to be an absolute banger. And so many other matches. I mean, Lance Archer versus Kazuchika Okada. They have history. Fale and Okada have history. Tom Lawler could have some bangers in this block if he wanted to. But this block is pretty stacked with some big time matchups. And now on to something new on the channel. It's called My Dangerously Dark Horse, who I'm going to pick a person from this block that I think could be a huge dark horse to possibly win the block. Now, my Dangerously Dark Horse for A block is the former strong openweight champion Filthy Tom Lawler. I think Tom Lawler could be in the hunt all the way up to the end of this block to possibly win it, because this man has only lost one match, and that was to Fred Rosser in Philadelphia for the strong openweight title. So Tom Lawler, I think, could be a huge dark horse. So my Dangerously Dark Horse for A block is Filthy Tom Lawler. So coming from me and my pick to win A block and advance to my Final Four, I think it's going to come down to either Jeff Cobb or Rainmaker Kazuchika Okada. And then coming from me, I am going to go with the reigning G1 Climax champion, Rainmaker Kazuchika Okada, to win A block and advance to my Final Four. And now on to B block, starting off with the competitors. First, he is representing the Switchblade era of
Bullet Club.
And he is a former IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champion, making only his second G1 Climax appearance. And if you know his music, you'll know who I'm talking about. He is Bullet Club's one and true crown jewel, Chase Owens. Next, he is representing Los Ingobernables de Japón, and he is a former IWGP United States champion, making his 7th G1 Climax appearance, and if you know his music, you'll know who I'm talking about. is Cold Skull Sonata. Next, he is representing Chaos, and he is the only man in New Japan Pro Wrestling history to hold that Never Openweight Championship 6 times, making his 10th G1 Climax appearance, and if you know his music, you'll know who I'm talking about. He is the Stone Pitbull, Tomohiro Ishii, or Golem. Next, he is representing Suzuki Gun, Ichiban, and he is one half of the Dangerous Tekkers and a former 3-time IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champion, a former 2-time Never Openweight Champion, and a former KOPW Champion, making his 4th G1 Climax appearance, and if you know his music, you'll know who I'm talking about. He is His Lordship, Lord Taichi. Next, he is representing the United Empire, and he is one half of the former 2-time IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champions, making his 2nd G1 Climax appearance. He is the man of the people, and it's time for all of you to all hail him, and if you know his music, you'll know who I'm talking about. He is Dominator, the Great O-Khan. Next, he is representing Hontai, and he is the former Never Openweight Champion, making his 5th G1 Climax appearance, and if you know his music, you'll know who I'm talking about. He is the good bad guy, Tonga. And finally, you have the undisputed leader of the Switchblade era of...
Bullet Club.
And he is the brand new, undisputed IWGP champion, the man that defeated Kazuchika Okada at Dominion after I guaranteed it 1 month ago, making only his 4th G1 Climax appearance. And if you know his music, guys, you know who I'm talking about. It's time for all of you to breathe once again in the Switchblade era, and it's time for all of you to breathe with the Switchblade era. He is my boy, Switchblade, Jay White. Now, my thoughts on this year's B block. A lot of interesting names in this B block, that's for sure. And there's a lot of grudge matches in this block as well. I mean, the first match that comes into mind, Tonga versus Switchblade Jay White. That's going to be the match of this block, in my opinion, because the story is just right there. I mean, Switchblade kicked out God from Bullet Club, and Tonga has swore revenge against Switchblade, Jay White, and Bullet Club, so that matchup is going to be an absolute banger. Another match I'm excited for, Switchblade versus Tomohiro Ishii. We all know what happened at Battle in the Valley last November when Ishii ended Switchblade Jay White's never openweight title run. So you know there's revenge for the Switchblade there. And you also got to remember, Ishii was the one that cost Switchblade a spot in the G1 Climax Finals a couple of years ago. So that matchup I'm extremely excited for. Sanada and Taichi could be a good matchup. Great-O-Khan versus Sanada. Great-O-Khan versus Tama Tonga. There's a lot of great matches in this block. Now on to my dangerously dark horse for B block. And my dangerously dark horse for this block is the Great-O-Khan. I think the Great-O-Khan could be a factor in this block, even though after losing the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team titles to FTR at Forbidden Door in Chicago, I think Great-O-Khan is a scary guy to be facing right now, and I think he's going to be a guy that you guys got to look out for in B block. So coming from me and my pick to win B block and advance to my Final Four. Now, you guys know me. I've been a Switchblade Jay White fan for 4 years. I've been breathing with him and seeing him win the title at Dominion, defeating Rainmaker Kazuchika Okada after I guaranteed it 1 month ago at Wrestling Dontaku that it would happen. It came true. Switchblade does not need to win this block or needs to win this tournament. The target is on his back. He is the undisputed champion. And for me, I think 3 people could beat him and get a title shot. That would be Tama Tonga, that would be Sanada, and possibly Tomohiro Ishii. So for me, Switchblade does not need to win this tournament or does not need to win this block. So coming from me, I am going to go with Cold Skull Sanada to win B block and advance to my Final Four. And now on to C block, starting off with the competitors. First, he is representing the United Empire, and he is making his G1 Climax debut this year, and if you know his music, you'll know who I'm talking about. He is the ultimate weapon, Aaron Hanare. Next, he is representing Chaos, and he won this tournament all the way back in 2008, making his 15th G1 Climax appearance, and if you know his music, you'll know who I'm talking about. He is the Fierce Warrior Hiroki Goto. Next, he is representing Suzuki Gun, Ichiban, and he is one half of the Dangerous Tekkers and a former 3-time IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champion, the 2022 New Japan Cup winner, making his 6th G1 Climax appearance, and in my opinion, he is the best technical wrestler in the world today. And if you know his music, you'll know who I'm talking about. He is Saber Jr. Next, he is representing the Switchblade era of
Bullet Club.
And he is a former IWGP United States champion, a former IWGP Never Openweight champion, making his 4th G1 Climax appearance, and if you know his music, you'll know who I'm talking about. Kenta. Next, he is also representing the Switchblade era of
Bullet Club.
And he is representing Bullet Club's House of Torture, and he is 1/3 of the reigning Never Openweight 6-man tag team champions, a former IWGP Heavyweight and IWGP Intercontinental Champion, making his 7th G1 Climax appearance. He'll be accompanied by the spoiler Dick Togo, and if you know his music, you'll know who I'm talking about. He is King of Darkness, evil, because this is evil. Everything is evil. It's real and it's just too sweet. Next, he is the only man in New Japan Pro Wrestling history to hold that IWGP Heavyweight title 8 times. He is a 3-time winner of the G1 Climax tournament, winning it in 2007, 2015, and 2018. He is the second ever Grand Slam winner in New Japan Pro Wrestling's history, making his 21st G1 Climax appearance. And if you know his music, his old music, you'll know who I'm talking about. He is Hiroshi Tanahashi. And finally, you have the leader of Los Ingobernables de Japón, and he is a former IWGP Heavyweight and IWGP Intercontinental Champion. He is a 2-time G1 Climax winner, winning it back in 2013, and his last win in 2017, 5 years ago, making his 13th G1 Climax appearance. And if you know his music, you'll know who I'm talking about. Ooh, Naito! He is Tetsuya Naito. Now, my thoughts on C Block this year. You talk about a stacked block. C Block this year has got to be the most stacked block in this year's G1 Climax tournament. I mean, look at the names in this block. Saber Jr., Kenta, Evil, Tanahashi, Tetsuya Naito, and Hiroki Goto, and Aaron Hanare. This block is beyond stacked. And there's a ton of fantastic matches that could come out of this block. I mean, Naito and Saber Jr. We all know what happened last year in the G1. Saber Jr. took out Naito for the entire G1. So you know that matchup is going to be important. And some revenge for the ungovernable one, Tetsuya Naito. Naito versus Evil. You know their history over 2 years ago for the IWGP Heavyweight and IWGP Intercontinental title. Kenta versus Tanahashi, the rematch from this year's WrestleKingdom, which was a classic, just an out-of-control classic. You got Tanahashi and Naito. You know, those two have history. Tanahashi versus Saber Jr. Goto versus Tanahashi, the Dominion rematch. Aaron Hanare trying to prove himself in his first G1. This block is beyond stacked. Maybe the best block in this year's G1 Climax tournament. Now on to my dangerously dark horse for C Block. And my dangerously dark horse is Kenta. I think Kenta could be a spoiler for one of the winners in this tournament, and with him being part of the Switchblade era Bullet Club, he will do whatever it takes by any means necessary. So my dangerously dark horse for C Block is Kenta. So coming from me and my pick to win C Block and advance to my Final Four, if there was any other challenger for Switchblade Jay White, if it was Tanahashi, if it was Okada, if it was Shingo, I think this man has to win the G1 this year, and I'm already saying it. I think he is the man that's going to win the G1 this year, and that is the leader of LIJ, the two-time G1 Climax winner, Tetsuya Naito, to win C Block and advance to my Final Four. And now on to the final block of this year's G1 Climax tournament, the Big D block. Starting off with the competitors. First, he is making his G1 Climax debut this year, and he is a former multiple-time IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champion, a former Impact Wrestling Tag Team Champion, and if you know his music, you'll know who I'm talking about.
Rock and roll, rock and roll.
He is the fourth generation David Finley. Next, he is representing the Switchblade era of...
Bullet Club.
And he is representing Bullet Club's House of Torture, and he is 2/3 of the reigning Never Openweight 6-man tag team champions, making his 9th G1 Climax appearance. He is the Tokyo Pimps, Yujiro Takahashi. Next, he is representing Chaos, and he is making his 6th G1 Climax appearance, and if you know his music, you'll know who I'm talking about. He is Headhunter Yoshihashi or Tacos. Next, he is also representing the Switchblade era of...
Bullet Club.
And even though he holds the belt, he is the former 3-time IWGP United States Champion, making his 5th G1 Climax appearance. He is Rock Hard Juice Robinson. Next, he is also representing the Switchblade era of...
Bullet Club.
And he is a former 3-time IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champion, a back-to-back winner of the Super J Cup, making his G1 Climax debut this year as a heavyweight. And if you know his music, you'll know who I'm talking about. He is the original headbanger, Phantasmo. Next, he is the undisputed leader of the United Empire, and he is the reigning undisputed Rev Pro British Heavyweight Champion, and he is the brand new and first ever British-born IWGP United States Champion, making his 3rd G1 Climax appearance, and if you know his music, you'll know who I'm talking about. He is the Commonwealth Kingpin, Will Osprey. And finally, you have representing Los Ingobernables de Japón, and he is a former two-time never openweight champion, and he was the former undisputed IWGP champion, and he is the reigning KOPW 2022 trophy holder, making his fourth G1 Climax appearance. And if you know his music, you'll know who I'm talking about. He is the Rampaging Dragon, Shingo Takagi. Now, my thoughts on this final block for this year's G1 Climax tournament, it's pretty stacked, but for me, it's a two-man block. It's going to come down to two people in this block to win it. Now, the matches I'm extremely excited for D block, I mean, come on. I think it's not a shocker. Osprey versus Shingo. That's the match everybody's been waiting for. But there's a lot of other matches that you got to look out for, especially Juice Robinson versus Will Osprey, the former three-time IWGP US champion who had to be stripped of the belt against the new US champion Will Osprey. So that matchup I'm extremely excited for. Another match a lot of people are not talking about, the battle of the former FinJuice tag team partners, Juice versus David Finley. That matchup could definitely be a show stealer. And you got Yoshihashi, you got El Phantasmo looking to bulk up to heavyweight in his first G1. He can have bangers. I mean, one match I'm extremely excited for in this block, El Phantasmo, Will Osprey, the rematch from King of Pro Wrestling back in 2018, where that was El Phantasmo's last one-on-one shot at the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title. So you know Phantasmo and Osprey will absolutely have an absolute banger. But for me, whoever wins, it's going to be down to either Shingo or Will Osprey to win this block. Now, my dangerously dark horse for D block is Rock Hard Juice Robinson. I think Juice Robinson could absolutely play spoiler in either costing Shingo or Will Osprey this block. Juice Robinson's got a new direction. He's winning by any means necessary, and I have a funny feeling he'll be up there all the way up to the end. So my dangerously dark horse for D block is Rock Hard Juice Robinson. So coming from me and my pick to win D block to advance to my final four, it's either going to be Osprey or it's going to be Shingo. For me, it's one of those two who's going to win this block. But coming from me, I am going to go with the Rampaging Dragon, the KOPW 2022 trophy holder, Shingo Takagi, to win D block and advance to my final four. And now on to my final four predictions to see which two men will make my G1 Climax final. Starting off with the first semifinal showdown between my potential A block winner, the reigning G1 Climax champion, Rainmaker Kazuchika Okada, facing off against my potential B block winner, representing Los Ingobernables de Japón, Cold Skull Sonata. Now these two have history, Okada and Sonata. Multiple times Okada has bested Sonata. Sonata's beaten him, I think, maybe once or twice. He beat him in the G1 a couple years ago, but this is a huge opportunity. So coming from me in this first semifinal showdown to see who will make my G1 Climax finals, I think Sonata will give Okada a fight, but coming from me, I'm going to go with the Rainmaker and the reigning G1 Climax champion, Rainmaker Kazuchika Okada, to make it back to the finals for the second consecutive year and defeat Cold Skull Sonata. And now on to the second semifinal showdown to see who will face Rainmaker Kazuchika Okada in my G1 Climax finals between two members of Los Ingobernables de Japón, between the leader of LIJ and the man I'm picking to win it all this year, Tetsuya Naito, facing the Rampaging Dragon, the winner of D block, hopefully Shingo Takagi. So coming from me in the second semifinal showdown to see who will advance to my G1 Climax finals, this one can go either way, but coming from me, I'm going with the man that I said is going to win this tournament, and that is Tetsuya Naito to get it done and defeat Shingo Takagi and advance to the G1 Climax Finals. And now, it's time for the main event. It is the finals of the G1 Climax 32 G1 Climax 32 tournament, and it's a battle between two men who have met each other 4 times this year alone. Between my potential A block winner and the reigning and defending G1 Climax champion, the leader of Chaos, Rainmaker Kazuchika Okada, facing off against my potential C block winner and the man I'm thinking is winning this tournament overall, the leader of LIJ, Tetsuya Naito. Now this is, like I said, the 4th meeting between Okada and Naito this year alone. I mean, they met each other first in February, the Golden Fight Series, where Okada defeated Tetsuya Naito. They met in the semifinals of this year's New Japan Cup, where Naito defeated Kazuchika Okada. And their last meeting was at Wrestling Dontaku on May 1st in Fukuoka, where Okada took down Tetsuya Naito. So for me, this has to be the finals for this year's G1, and a shot at the Undisputed IWGP title is on the line, because I know Okada wants another shot at Switchblade Jay White, and I know Naito, after missing the G1 last year, is looking to win his 3rd G1 Climax tournament this year for the first time in 5 long years. So coming from me, in the finals of the 32nd G1 Climax tournament, and the man who will get the shot at my boy Switchblade Jay White's Undisputed IWGP title at WrestleKingdom 17 in Tokyo Dome, If Naito has to win, he has to win with Destino. He's been winning a lot with roll-ups, but if he wants to win the G1 for the first time since 2017, he has to bring back the Destino, because we know Rainmaker Kazuchika Okada, after bringing back the Rainmaker, got dominant. So if Naito needs to win this, he has to hit Destino on Okada. So coming from me, I am going to go with the leader of LIJ, Tetsuya Naito, to win his 3rd G1 Climax tournament and his 1st since 2017, and defeat his eternal rival, Rainmaker Kazuchika Okada, in a G1 Climax Finals banger. And those are my 2022 New Japan Pro Wrestling's G1 Climax 32 predictions. Now, I do want to thank you guys so very much for watching this video today. Comment below, who do you see winning this year's G1 Climax 32 tournament this year? I have Naito defeating Okada in the finals, but let me know what you guys think, and let me know, who do you see winning all 4 blocks? For me, A block is going to be won by Okada, B block is going to be won by Sanada, C block is going to be won by Naito, and D block is going to be won by Shingo Takagi. Let me know who you guys got in all 4 blocks. Who do you see being a dark horse in all 4 blocks? What is your potential semifinal showdown, and what is your potential finals matchup? And as always, let's have a conversation about it. Of course, I'm always on to see your comment, like it, and of course reply right back to you, because comments and your opinions are absolutely always welcome on this channel. Now, I do want to thank you guys so very much for watching my G1 Climax 32 2022 predictions today. Again, thank you guys so very much for all the support. We did not have a big month in June, so I do want to thank you guys so very much for watching all the videos that we put up on June on the channel. And now we're going to the Summer of Dangerously in July, and we got some big videos hopefully coming up. Possibly Death Before Dishonor 19 for Ring of Honor, possibly SummerSlam for the WWE, and possibly New Japan Pro Wrestling's Music City Mayhem in Nashville. So again, thank you guys for all the support in the month of June, and now we go into a huge Summer of Dangerously in the month of July, and hope you guys will be along for the ride. Now, before you guys go, as always, you guys can never forget to do this. That like button, comment, share with your friends. Of course, super kick that like button like only you guys can. Of course, guys can never forget to do this as well. That subscribe button, become part of this bigger and dangerous alliance. We're over 1,000 subscribers on the channel, guys. Again, thank you guys so very much for all the support. And if you guys are not subscribed to the channel yet, what are you guys waiting for? If you're a fan of professional wrestling, when it comes to New Japan Pro Wrestling, Ring of Honor Wrestling, AEW, and the WWE, and you're a fan of professional sports when it comes to the NBA, the NHL, Major League Baseball, the NFL, and college football, super kick that subscribe button, folks. It's free, and you become part of this bigger, dangerous alliance. And I will see you guys hopefully in 2 weeks' time for my official Ring of Honor's Death Before Dishonor 19 2022 predictions. Later days, guys. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Stay safe and peace. The road to the G1 starts now.